Welcome to the Academically podcast, your trusted source of navigating global healthcare migration and career advancements. Today, we are going to speak about one of the most important topics, which is the APC examinations. So on this live, we are going to discuss about the most asked questions that are the 10 most important FAQs about the APC examinations as per the real world circumstances. And for that, we have Dr. Sonal, our program manager, with us today. Welcome, Dr. Sonal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Muskan, for such a warm welcome, and I'm glad that I could join you today.
That's great, Dr. Sonal. So before we start, can you tell me about something about the APC examination?
Sure. So if you talk about the APC examination, APC is basically Australian Physiotherapy Council examination. Okay, so if you talk about APC, APC is a written assessment, which is the assessment conducted by the Australian Physiotherapist Council to check the competence of overseas physiotherapists and grant them registration in Australia.
Right.
Okay, so the main purpose of the exam is to ensure that internationally qualified physiotherapists have the necessary knowledge to practice safely and effectively within the Australian healthcare system.
Right, that's great. So, what would you like to comment on the fact, like, what are the salaries for the, students or the physiotherapists who want to practice in Australia?
Okay, so if you talk about the average annual salaries, what's the starting for the fresher physiotherapist? It's around about $95,000 annually, right? So, like as per the stats, if you gain more experience, if you gain more years of knowledge, so it always increases. But yeah, like freshers can start with 95,000 is what we know as the company.
The opportunities are great overseas.
Yes, definitely, very much, very nice opportunity, and it's been increasing since the number of years. Yeah.
Right. So, what would you like to say? Like, where can these students learn more about this APC examination?
Okay, so definitely APC website, Australian Physiotherapist Council official website is where you get the information about everything. Also, you have a handbook of APC, a physiotherapist over there only. So there's a link provided, so you can go and check from there as well. If you want to know more, definitely our Academically's website is there where they've given the gist of physiotherapist APC Council examination. In there also, they have attached a link which goes on to the official website of APC. So you get a knowledge from there. And also, if you call and contact Academically, the counselors are always there to serve you for giving you and gaining knowledge regarding the APC exam.
So, on that part, if you want us to contact you for a one-on-one counseling session, do fill the form, or you can call on the number that is going to be listed below.
Yes.
Right. So, one of the most important questions that the aspirants ask is if they need to undergo an assessment process to become a registered physiotherapist if they study in Australia. So, what would you like to say about that?
Okay, so as I mentioned, the assessment is the APC assessment. If I talk about the APC exam, there are certain centers. So it's basically an online virtual proctored examination. It's a remote written assessment, as I already mentioned, which means that you can take it from anywhere. You can sit at your home country and you can take this examination. Basically, the APC exam is conducted 4 times a year, which is a very big opportunity because if you talk about the other examinations, you either have once or twice the opportunity. But if you talk about APC exam, it's conducted in the month of March, June, September, and December. So if you're not able to make it in the first attempt, you have 3 more attempts to go for in one particular year. And how is the exam conducted? Yes, as I already mentioned, the APC exam is remotely supervised examination. As I told you, conducted 4 times a year. This means that a candidate from India can complete the written assessment from India itself. You don't have to travel to Australia and finish up with your APC exam.
Right. So, there are going to be centers where they have to go, right?
Yes, we have number of centers. In north, we have Chandigarh, we have Mumbai. In the south, we have in east, Kolkata and all that. So there are a lot of centers in our country, basically the major cities, tier 1 cities. Yeah.
So any aspirant who has this question, if they have to be in Australia for the assessment, it's not true. You can give the examination from your home country itself.
Yes.
Right. So that is more feasible for the aspirants.
Yes.
Okay. And one of the most asked questions is that if an Indian physiotherapy degree is valid in Australia, so what would you like to tell about the validity?
So talking about the validity, Muskan, the first things first, before sitting for the APC examination, there is the initial risk assessment done. right? So suppose you are registered physiotherapist here in India, you finished up with a BPT or your DPT degree, you have to submit your documents to the Australian Dental Council, and then they will validate it whether it's true or not and whether you're fit to sit for the examination or not. Okay, so not passed out like an overseas passed out. We talk about India or any other country. It's not that you're passing out from India, so whether it's valid there or not, you have to go through the initial assessment, and definitely you have to pass the FSC examination to practice as a physiotherapist in Australia.
Right, that's great. And like the most important question that the aspirants have, apart from the process and the eligibility, is that if they will be getting a PR in Australia after the APC examination. So is that true?
Yes. So what happens is there are sponsored visas, first of all. So there is 482 visa for which you require a 2-year experience. There is one 494 visa for which again you require a 2-year experience. And there is the regional sponsored PR visa, which is basically 491 visa. So you definitely get that. One recent update which has come up in this process is the experience required for the 482 visa, which was earlier 2 years. Right now, even it is 2 years, it will be reduced to 1 year from November 2024. So that's something which is great. And you used to require 2 years of experience for the 482 visa. PR visa, you have 491 visa, which again, it's a regional sponsored visa, which maybe your company sponsors while you get selected or when you get hired.
Okay, so speaking about the process once again, right? So during the process after the APC or before the APC, you need to attempt for your PTE examination, right?
Yes.
So any of the English proficiency exam. So what would you say? Like, what is the score, the PTE score for physiotherapy that is required in Australia?
So the PTE score, which is required in Australia, it's always, it's not a part of the APC exam. It's a part for the visa process. But definitely, if you're preparing for that, you need to have that cleared as well. The PTE score of 65 or higher is required if you have to finish up with the APC examination.
Okay, so to be eligible for a visa, you have to have a score of 65 or above.
Higher. Yes.
Okay, that's great. Okay. And okay, so talking about the PR now, what would you like to say? Like, how do physiotherapists get a license to practice in Australia?
Okay, so if you have finished up with a physiotherapy degree from Australia, you just have to get yourself registered to the AFRA board. And AFRA board is a registration council. The full form of AFRA is basically Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency. So whether you finish up with your, whether you finish up your BPT here in India or any other country, give your APC exam, get qualified for the APC exam, then get yourself registered in the AFRA board, Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency. Or if you pass out from Australia, after you finish up with your degree, because you've passed out from Australia, you don't need to sit for the APC exam. You can go and get yourself registered in AFRA, and only then you can practice as a registered physiotherapist in Australia.
Okay, and like I forgot to ask you a question. Like we did speak about the PTE score, right? But a lot of the candidates have a question about the IELTS score. Like there's a confusion going on if you require 6.5 or 7 bands. So what would you like to comment?
Individual band score of 7. You require
band
not less than that. Yes.
Okay, and overall?
Overall has to be greater than 7, but individual band is like obviously it has to be like minimum is 7. PTs, as I told you, 65. OET score is also there. So there's minimum score of 350 out of 500 or grade B you can get. So there are basically 3 English proficiency required. Okay, IELTS, PT, and OET. Any 3 of them would hold good.
Right. And I have heard that this also affects the PR points. So in some way, is that true?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Definitely, it's all for PR visa, and it's also for only for visa. In the APC assessment process, you don't have nowhere English proficiency. Yes, they will say English proficiency is required, but then only ultimately goal is visa.
Okay, that's great, Dr. Sonal. You have answered almost all our questions. So these were the top questions that the aspirants generally have. Right. So if you have any other questions, if you want to talk to any of our counselors, just you can visit the form below. You can fill the form. You can call or any of the numbers for a one-on-one video counseling session. Thank you so much, Dr. Sonal, for answering all the aspirants' questions. I believe that most of the aspirants have gotten their answers as well.
Thank you so much, Muskan. Had a great time with you. Thank you so much for the beautiful questions and beautiful chat with you.
Thank you, Dr. Sonal. So I'm Muskan Gupta, your host. I wish you all the best for a medical career overseas. And if you want to chat with any of our counselors, kindly call on the numbers below. And if you have any other questions, you can also comment. Thank you so much.